Hey kids, welcome to another live taping of Podcast Pontifications. Taping, Evo, really? I mean, when's the last time we utilized tape? It's been a long time. Hey, if you are brand new, just now tuning in, you may wonder what the heck is going on. My name is Evo Terra. This is the live recording of Podcast Pontifications, a show I do every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And it's Thursday, which means I'm doing a show. Oh, you know what I do? I have my glasses on, and they have that horrible glare, so my apologies for that. So this part you're hearing right now is the live stream portion of the show where I get on and I say hello and I clear out the pipes and I say, hello, Betty. Hang on. Wow. Betty says, Evo. And Jean says, good morning, and good morning to you, Jean. Hello and welcome. Thanks for being here, everybody. For the new people, the actual real content of the podcast will start in about another 3 or 4 minutes. Once I've warmed up the pipes and said good morning to Arlen. Hi, Arlen. Nice to see you, sir. And anyone else. If you're wondering how it is I'm chatting with these people, well, that's the magic of live streaming. Whether you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook or where else does this go? Twitter. That's the other place it goes. You can actually type in a comment, and I'll probably see it. And I'll even respond to it, at least for the first couple of minutes here as I'm getting pumped. But when I actually start talking about the podcast, when I actually start not talking about it, when I actually start doing the show, the actual proper show, I will not be looking at the comments because, that's distracting. Today's topic is going to be a podcast listening app you can proudly recommend. Man, me and my throat are not having a good day today, and I just don't know why. Hang on, I'm going to mute this one, because that was loud and annoying. Hopefully that doesn't show up while I am recording. You never know, though. It might. So, right. Okay, so that's all good. It is Thursday, which means the weekend is upon us. Man, the month is just flying by, as I'm sure you feel kind of the same way. All right. Moving all my things around over here. I'm trying to think if there's any things to cover today before I get into the actual topic of a podcast listening app you can probably recommend. I feel like there was something else I was going to say to everybody, and I don't recall what it was. I don't know. Clay, sometimes that's it. My mind sometimes is a wandering mess. What are you going to do? Such is life. Yeah, so, all right, so I think that is all good. Thanks again, once again, for being here. Oh, I should say this. If you don't want to listen to the rambling bits, which never make it to the podcast, and you just want the podcast, or you just want the insights I'm about to give from the podcast, Podcast Pontifications is where you want to go. In fact, you want to go to Podcast Pontifications and put your email address in, because I will send you a link to the finished audio file and a completely rewritten article, where I take all of the words that tumble out of my mouth and I rearrange them using my fingers, something you can read. And that gets emailed to you. Podcastpontifications.com. Click the subscribe button. You will then enter your email address, and you will suddenly be a recipient of Podcast Pontifications in your inbox, if that sounds like something you want to do. And it probably does. Right. Okay, that's all the housekeeping stuff. I'm just going to read this cold open, and we're going to start this show. What do you guys think? Yeah? Yeah. All right. Cold open is, we know that the podcast listening experience matters, and we know the big podcast apps don't seem to share that sentiment. It's time for working podcasters like you to do something intentional about it. And I got a hair in my mouth, which is not fun to be talking with when you got... Anyhow, such is the life of loving long hair. All right, so that's the cold open. Those are all the things. We're all good here. I'm going to start this puppy. Here we go. We know that the podcast listening experience matters. We also know the big podcast apps don't seem to share that sentiment. It's time for working podcasters like you and me to do something intentional about it. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. When I go to a new restaurant, I almost always ask my server for their recommendation rather than reading the entire menu. Now, most of the time, I get one of three answers. First one, everything is good. Not helpful. But why would you put not good things on the menu? I understand that. Not helpful. Or they will say, I don't eat X, whether that's meat or pasta or carbs or green things. Also not very helpful. There's an entire section of the menu you're not helping me with. Or the third answer is try the salmon or whatever else. Definitely, that's the one. Now, the only right answer out of those three clearly is the last one. This is the part where you say, great, Evo, now we understand your eating habits. What does this have to do with podcasting? Allow me to elucidate that for you. All right, look. I know that you're smart enough to put your podcast episodes everywhere someone might want to listen. We do that, right? Yes, that includes Spotify, even if you don't care for Spotify's politics and privacy issues. I get it, but people listen over there. That also includes YouTube, because we've been told a ton of podcast discovery, maybe not listening, but a lot of podcast discovery happens on YouTube. We need to be there as well. But you don't have to be agnostic, like that server, when it comes to what app you prefer, you recommend people utilize to enjoy your show. Just like that server above, I think you, as a podcaster, should have an opinion on which app someone should use, which are the best ones. Because I think really that regime change begins at home, to borrow a phrase. Look, Apple continues to fumble the ball with Apple Podcasts. And reports are that the big bet they're making on subscriptions, paid for subscriptions, is causing significantly more work for a lot of podcasters than many podcasters want. If you're making money with Apple Podcast subscriptions, good on you. But if you're not, Spotify continues to go down the exclusivity route, locking up creators, locking up podcasts, and being very, Spotify about this whole thing, much as many people did fear would happen, is exactly what is happening with Spotify. Amazon was the big hope for some, me particularly. I was kind of thinking they might be able to really do one more big presence into podcasting, but as last reports I read, Amazon's really only in this to get their share of the advertising revenue. So I don't know how much they're going to be forwarding podcasting all over. And yet we podcasters continue to pimp the big players, at least the first two I mentioned. And we do that largely in part because we're told, well, that's where people are most likely going to be listening to your show. But that's a false assumption. As I've talked about before, and as you've read before, auto downloads are skewing the numbers that you and I see, causing us to confuse downloads with actual listens. So, let's put our minds back put our bodies into the shoes, if you will, of that mythical restaurant server once again. Only we are the server. We are the waiter, the waitress, the person taking the order, whatever you want to call us. That's our job. We're the podcaster. And even though the listener didn't say it exclusively or explicitly, they're asking us for a recommendation. We're the ones that need to provide a recommendation to people. So here's your homework. Here's my homework. And that is, find a new listening app that you can proudly recommend. If you're already using one of the big apps, I'm suggesting you move away from them. It took me a long time to move away. My argument in my brain was, well, most people listen on this, so I need to understand that experience. And I now realize that's wrong. There's not a lot we can do about that. So what I've decided to do is shift away, break the dependency on the Big Purple app and go to something else. And that's what I want you to do as well. Keep in mind, You and I are going to continue to make our podcast available on every single platform. That is super key and important. But what I want you to do this weekend is the same thing I'm going to do this weekend, is spend time trying out some new podcast listening apps. We're going to start there. My focus is going to be on the new apps available at newpodcastapps.com. That's where all of the new and fresh and wild thinking around podcasting and how we can extend podcasting is taking place. Super smart people who are looking to advance podcasting. That's where I'm focusing my efforts. You might do something else, but I would suggest that you resist the temptation while you're doing your search and when you start finding things. Resist the temptation to look for an app that does exactly what your current listening app does today. Because that's trying to find a replacement for what's happening right now, where you might be missing some of the other cool things that are happening. Now, take it from me. I've got some very strict requirements on what I expect apps to do, and none of them really do it very well. My old process was wait, gripe about it, and hope it would eventually get better, but that's not going to happen. So instead, what I'm going to be doing is find an app that I think I can work with, and I'm going to make my case with and chat up the developers to see if I can get the app to improve. I'm not doing that because I have some special powers. I'm a user. I'm going to be using it. I want you to use it, and I want you to find out where the flaws are in the process and figure out what's going to work. We've got to be open to trying new things, trying a different way to do things. I think this is an important step for us to take to get away from the bigs, to really get back into what it means to listen to our show and what kind of experience we can give. And are we recommending the things that will give them the best experience, or are we saying, listen wherever you get your podcasts? I really do think this regime change to get people to shift begins with us, the power users, the creators. Look, if we're serious about making podcasting better, I think we need to at least have an opinion on what makes for a great listening experience. And listen to wherever you want isn't that opinion we need. We need an opinion. We need to be able to proudly share and recommend that opinion. Now, if you think this is a good idea, if you're interested and you're intrigued by this, and of course I'll have more information about, now what, Evo? We found the thing. What am I supposed to do? Well, we'll talk more about that in future episodes. But right now, go find a new app. Spend the next 3 days seeing if you can find a new app. Now, if you think that's a good idea, as I was trying to say originally, if you think that's a good idea and you want to return some of the value I just gave to you, then please go to buymeacoffee.com/evoterra and buy me a coffee. Or better yet, use one of those new fancy, newfangled Satoshi-powered apps. What's a Satoshi-powered apps, you might say? Well, they're out there, and that's what I'm going to be playing with this weekend. And if you've got one right now, give me a boost. Boost! And with that, I shall be back on Monday with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers! Recording has stopped there. Recording has stopped here. All the recordings have stopped. Now we're back off the recordings. Now we go back to the chat and we say, boom. What is Betty saying? Not helpful, dude. Yes. I'm not sure what wasn't helpful, but I'm trying to be helpful. Got it. So there you go. An idea. Finding a listening app you can recommend. I have some that I think I might want to do, but that's what I'm doing. I'm exploring. I'm learning. I'm seeing what is new. And that's the one I'm going to evangelize. I'm going to tell people all about it. Hey, if you're just now joining into the live stream, you just missed it. You could back up 14 minutes if you want to, or you could just go to podcastpontifications.com, because that's where this episode will be published in 2 hours and 47 minutes, along with a completely rewritten article, so you can read it at your heart's content. Sign up for Podcast Pontifications in your inbox. Click the little subscribe button at pp.com, podcastpontifications.com, and you can get that. Right, so I'm going to go explore some apps all day on Friday, and then all day on Saturday and Sunday, playing around. I've already downloaded a couple that I like. So if you have some recommendations, that you think I should be listening to, go to that advancing podcasting community and let's talk about it there. That's where I plan on sharing what I'm finding and the ones that I recommend we start utilizing more. So advancingpodcasting.xyz. Yeah. You've heard the ad 1,000 times. You're probably sick of the ad. I'm going to change the ad out in September. I promise it won't be the same exact one. All that. So that's it, guys. I'm going to go get this episode done, published. I just have a couple more things to do for clients this week, so I need to have a productive Thursday. I hope you have a productive Thursday or not. Hey, you do the Thursday you want to do, man. It's up to you, person. What do I care? See you guys tomorrow. Bye. No, not tomorrow. I said tomorrow. See you on Monday. Okay, bye.